Hello and welcome to the 13th episode in the Farleigh Park build series. We are once again starting here in the steampunk area, but as you may have seen in the thumbnail, we've got some huge updates from the Viking Land. So without further ado, let's get straight into the updates. So yeah, starting off here in the Steampunk Land, and the biggest update here is that I've finished the RMC layout finally. It's only taken me like 4 months to do it, but let's go through it with this car. So you come up this lift hill, not very tall, it's a nice little pre-drop there. Then you go into this really cool drop that immediately banks to the left, which I think is awesome, right under the queue line there, into a small speed hill, then into that outer bank over the entrance of the land. This is something I had planned right from the start, and I'm really happy with how that's turned out. Then it kind of dives down here and keeps rolling into an inversion. It's super satisfying to watch. We'll have to get another car. Where's the next one? Should be there any second. So we'll go back to that in just a second. And then it kind of goes into what we already had. So the double airtime hill there, the wave turn, the turn. This airtime hill has been replaced with a double down. So instead of being kind of some very light floater, it's now 2 aggressive moments of ejector airtime. Anyway, here comes the next car. We can watch the inversion here. Really happy with how that's turned out and how it all kind of flows together now. So yeah, that is the RMC done. I've also started to work on the queue line. So it comes this way. This is where it splits into fast track and the regular queue. And yeah, from here you go underneath the track here into this section. You go over the first drop into what's hopefully going to be a really cool section here around the helix before you go back this way through a small section of cattle pen and back here, more cattle pen around this way. Now once I've started work on the buildings, I am thinking of having a staircase at the end here and then having the queue do another kind of semicircle over the helix, which I think might be pretty cool. I might also be able to bring it back down here and have a bit more queue line, because I have tested it and it can only really hold about 40 minutes worth of queue. And considering where this coaster is right next to the entrance, I think it needs to be able to hold at least like an hour or two. But yeah, then it comes back this way, some more cattle pen, more around here. Then it goes underneath the station. This here is a potential cut through point. What they'd probably do is just move the fast track line to merge there. Yeah, kind of more cattle pen stuff. I have changed the fast track area here, so the fast track users, instead of entering the queue line here, they now enter the queue line over here. There'll be some cool theming in the middle there, and also there'll be like a big hall here with loads of cool theming before you finally go up into the station. We will of course have the lift here on the other side. The coaster itself somehow has all green stats, I think, unless it's changed. Nope, all green. Some of the forces are a little high, but apart from that, it's probably one of my favourite coaster layouts I've made in Planet Coaster 1. I've also added in, just see the coaster go past there, this new pathway down from the side. I think we can have a cool restaurant in the back here, and maybe on this side we can have a tower that the coaster goes through. I think that'd be really cool. But also it's a nice viewing point for the speed hill. You'll be able to get really close to the coaster here. We can do like loads of cool fences and theming and stuff. I think that's going to be really cool. I've also shortened the queue line for Turbine, considering we're going to put a restaurant in the back here. I thought we can have it curve around a little bit and kind of use this space. And also, Turbine doesn't really need that extra queue. It's a very intense ride, not many people are really going to be going on it. I've also started theming the other area entrance around this side. Really happy with how this is turning out so far. I've only really done this section. You've got all the pipes, the cogs, the crates, the sacks, the barrels, the newspapers, all the clutter, some nice lighting, and I've also put a roof on the second tunnel into the land here. This is what I mean by the outer bank. Just frames it perfectly there. You can walk out and immediately see it there, which I think is awesome. Anyway, let's move on to the city area, where we have one very small update, which is that I've added closed versions of the parasols to the rest of the benches. That's pretty much it, and you'll see that kind of more as we move around the park. In terms of the adventure land, this building still needs a lot of work, especially around the outside, but I have started work on the inside of the Oasis station. So you can see here, got some nice themed walls, got the kind of temple block pieces above it, Got some rubble under here, some more vines on the walls. We have our loose articles. I'll just put some basic wooden planks on the operator's cabin. Got some barrels around this side and a couple of fences to stop people from walking where they shouldn't be. And yeah, apart from that, nothing else so far, but it's something. At least I've started work on it, and really all we've got is the exit corridor and the queue line corridor, so not too much work left on that building. But anyway, enough of all that, let's finally move on to the Viking Land and our Viking River Rapids. Before we go into that, the wooden coaster is now the last coaster that still needs kind of its layout building after I finish the RMC, but there's been no other updates to that ride, whereas as you can probably tell, there's been so much that I've done since the last episode when it comes to the River Rapids. So I've done the layout, we'll go through that I think after we look at the theming. So yeah, this part of the theming is kind of really the only section you can properly see from the main area pathway. And yeah, I absolutely love how this is coming together. We have the waterfall section, and it is on both sides. As it kind of gets close to the pathway, the rock facade is going to kind of die down. These orange, I almost said orange cylinders, probably getting confused with the boats. These light green cylinders are where I'm going to have lifeguard points, so you'll see those kind of dotted around the track. Or the ride, I should say. So we'll have the nice rock facade here, we'll have the lifeguard point on the end, and then here we'll just have some kind of low rocks so people not on the ride can watch everyone going through the waterfalls. Yeah, it's a combination of the alpine rocks, these Jurassic rocks, there's these basalt rocks, and also the temple pieces recoloured in grey that kind of come together to form this rock facade. So here from this end we've just got the waterfalls there, got a little bit of light theming here with a couple of shields. From the other side here we have a nice waterfall going down into this kind of little bay. More rock work on the side here, really happy with how it's all coming together. And on this side here we've got a boat tied up next to this lift which is transporting some crates and barrels up to the top here, or maybe down onto the boat, I'm not sure. And then this kind of cool little staircase where you can cross over these rocks up the ladder into a lighthouse, which I think looks super cool up pretty much at the highest point of the ride, apart from just over here. And I think it looks really cool from down here. It's a really kind of catches your eye build up at the top there. Okay, inside there is some fire there. We've got more barrels and shields around the top and all the ropes and stuff. Really happy with how that's come together. Also got the rock arches, so we can see another water effect here, where as the boat, I think literally as it comes really close to those waterfalls, they all shut off, the boat passes under, not soaking the guests, and they turn back on. So yeah, those are all triggered, and so that's kind of where I'm up to so far with the Rapids ride. So let's just go through the layout. So this of course will be made to look like one of those circular stations. Obviously we don't have those in the game. I really hope they put them into Planet Coaster 2. So this will have the a circular platform with all the safety markers and everything, and it's the only part of the ride where the track is fully level throughout. I'll figure out how I'm going to integrate all of the queue line and the exit pathway once I've actually built the structure. So you're coming out of the station, which is actually here, we enter a small rapid section kind of going through here. There'll be kind of wooden beams going across over the track, which will be helping to prop up the pathway there. And you go under what will be a bridge for the queue line, and you kind of pass down this way where you enter the first tunnel, which is right here next to the Farleigh Flyer. And yeah, this tunnel goes around this way, basically the entire section that can see the Farleigh Flyer or the backstage road, and you actually emerge out of the tunnel here. And you can see here as well the kind of slow downwards slope of the entire ride. Come through this section here, you've got another lifeguard point, curves round, and as you kind of face this way we get into another tunnel. There's also a bit of queue line which you'll be able to see from here, and then we'll have a lifeguard point at the end of that. And you come out of the tunnel here, under another bridge before you enter the waterfall section, which looks really cool from down there. Go down here, probably getting fairly soaked before you curve around this way, past the main pathway of the land, and you go up this way, pass underneath the rocks, around this top section, which looks really cool when you're actually down here with the lighthouse and everything. You should be able to see the waterfall shut off any moment now. think, is it going to close? Is it going to stop the water? Yes. And then as soon as you pass under, it starts up again. Do another curve this way, you go around the lighthouse before this big turn back into the station. And yeah, I would have preferred to have the lift hill go straight into the station, but yeah, annoyingly the number of boats you have, you can't have them kind of like 1, 2 lift hill, and then the rest of them after the lift. They have to be able to fit between the top of the lift hill and the station, so that's why we have this kind of raised up section there. But I think it's pretty cool to have it with the lighthouse and everything, and from the pathway you can kind of see the boats bobbing around. You can definitely see it better from up at the exit here. So yeah, that is our Viking River Rapids. Still no name for it yet. And obviously there's the obvious one to steal from Legoland, Viking River Splash. Don't think I'll do that though, I'll try and think of something. Anyway, moving into Deadwood. The Scare Maze queue now has a couple of shade covers, just to help with some of kind of the areas that don't receive much shade during the day. And also, I feel like it adds a bit to the queue line. I've also added some music, some different music to the pathway up to the Farleigh Mansion. You can see from the speakers, but I'll just let you hear that for a second. Yeah, I really like how ominous it sounds as you go up into the mansion there. I am thinking I might put like some lettering here saying Farleigh Mansion or something. I don't know how to experiment with that a bit. Moving on to Buccaneers Bay. Haven't been here in a while. Number 1, I have improved Shipwrecked brake run slightly, so now it actually is at a slight downwards angle. It's also much smoother going into the brakes. And also added this little pathway around here, so basically an engineer, when they're taking the cars off, they could walk here and just follow it and make sure it's all fine. And yeah, because they'd probably just get a crane to lift it out of there before taking it off to the main workshop. And the other thing I've done with Shipwrecked is some custom supports. I realised there was a few sections that weren't supported very well, so if I just click on the support group, see I've got one here, there's a new one here as well. I think this one already existed. There's another one. Is there even one up here? No, the next one I think is round over here, which I think looks cool, kind of being on the rockwork there. And the last one I've done is this one just here. Just see the coaster going under it there. Really happy with that, and I think it just makes everything look a lot more realistic. Now, moving on to Storm Valley, we have even more updates. Number 1, I've changed where it said Runaway Train to say Storm Valley Mining Company. I think that just works so much better than Runaway Train, because now instead of the big word saying entrance, we have a pretty cool entrance sign. We've got Runaway Train, we've got the little smoke coming out the top there, a little coupling car and the rail going underneath it. I think that's just a really fun little entrance sign. And right at the end here you have the letters kind of getting further apart, kind of to say yes, these ones are disconnected from the rest of the train. So yeah, really happy with that entrance sign. I think it looks way better than having a giant Runaway Train and then just a regular western sign that says entrance in one of the default fonts. So yeah, I think that's made it so much better than what it was before. Anyway, moving over into Farleigh Avenue now. I've updated the Hats Fantastic building. I think it looks a lot better now that it's 3 stories tall. We've got some nice plants around here as well. And I've also added more of those closed parasols like we had in the Cityland. I think it just adds a bit more to the area. So you know, it's like, oh yeah, the umbrellas are there, they're ready to be opened if needed. Same thing in the gardens, just adding more of those closed parasols to the couple of small seating areas we have here. Just kind of helps with the realism part of this project. Moving over to the resort, which is mostly this area, I have been thinking I can probably fit a mini golf in here, and I do in fact have the Alpine Falls mini golf as a blueprint right here. We just load it in. It's around 1,000 pieces. You can just imagine if we just raise that up a bit, if we kind of had that around there also. You know, the entrance just here. This is the final hole, and the exit will just be around the side there. and you can have like a building here for the ball returns and the tickets and stuff, and it would just fit in quite nicely there. So I'm thinking about it. It would be a lot of work to put a mini golf in there, a lot of pieces as well, so I think that might be something to do if once I'm very close to finishing the rest of the park. I've still got the frames to spare to add in probably 1500 pieces. Yes, alright, we'll do it. Anyway, the last update of the video is in the car parks, where car park D is now complete, which most just consisted of adding these small little sections at the base of the trees, with a bit of mulch and the flowers, and that's been done to every single one, apart from these larger ones, which have these, I think they're also flowers, but I've coloured them green to be more like grass. So that is car park D all completed now. I've also started work on what's going to be the natural barrier between car park C, which is this one, and car park D. Once all the trees are through there, I think it will help split up the massive sections of car park that we've got here. Anyway, that is going to be it for today's episode. Really hope you enjoyed. Obviously the big news being that I have finally started work on the Viking Land. Super excited to get working on this. I think what I'm going to try and do is theme up the entire rapids before working on the coaster. Then once the rapids is done, then work on the coaster, because the rapids I feel has got less buildings. Obviously the coaster station is going to be an absolute nightmare because it's going to be such a big structure. So I think use the rapids to practice kind of the theme a little bit, because obviously we don't have it in the game. And then once I've used the rapids to get comfortable with building in a theme that we don't have, I can basically move on to doing the coaster and figuring all that out. I did also notice when walking around the park in Tejukam, there's this lovely viewpoint here where we'll have the entrance structure, and you have the lighthouse perfectly framed by one of the Farleigh Flyers airtime hills in the background, which I think is awesome. So yeah, that is going to be it for today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe if you want to see more. With that said, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.